So are you tired of feeling like you're getting hurt all the time? Does it ever seem to end? No matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you give, the problem keeps happening again and again. You end up getting very, very hurt and feeling very hurt. In this video, I really want to open up and share with you. If you're watching for the first time, my name is Emer. Emer Inspires. And getting hurt comes from many different directions. And I want to help in this beautiful setting I have right here, us all to sit and reflect. Why is it that we are getting hurt? The first one is a pretty obvious one. The people we surround ourselves, the people we spend the most time with, the people that we love and may love very, very deeply. But we can, in our surroundings, can become very, very hurt. And it doesn't always have to be a toxic relationship. It doesn't always have to be an abusive relationship. We can have difficult situations with family members, friends, or whatever that can really end up that both sides get very, very hurt. It's not just one. And what came to me, I've become very enlightened on and looking at that, at this type of situation is, well, first of all, if it is an abusive, I'm not talking about if it is a genuine abusive situation. That's a whole different story. But for the ones that are just ordinary situations, and the thing is that we have to look inwardly every bit as much as we look outwardly. What we are receiving, believe it or not, we're actually giving. Now, we mightn't be giving it verbally, because that's the way energy flows. Energy has to flow in both directions. And the people that are around you are actually a reflection of how you can feel inside yourself. The energy, like you've often heard, oh, that person gives off a really bad vibe. And it's something within themselves. They might, and I think it sometimes can be the hardest to recognize, is that some people can, if somebody's straight up and just nasty, that's easy enough to figure out. But when somebody can seem very, very nice on the surface, but on the underneath side, there's just something bubbling that keeps causing reaction, causing things to go into turmoil. That is a reflection inside of them coming out, but it's also a reflection of something that's inside of us. So what I would say is, when you're not in the emotional state, when you're in a very calm, peaceful state like I am right now, just sit and think back of the last time it could be that you stood up for somebody, or how you behaved that ended up in a very negative outcome, where you ended up feeling very, very hurt or very disillusioned with yourself. And just sit down and write, think about it. Write down, if you need to, of, well, why did I do that? What was the reason I reacted that way? And just let go of them for a minute. Just let go of the other person, because what, we can't change other people. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Is just to sit with ourselves. And it becomes a learning lesson. This is how we grow. We cannot get it right all the time. We cannot be perfect. We have to let that feeling and sense of being perfect, just let it go. And I know there were situations, and it actually, I am going to share this one right now. It stemmed back an awful long time ago, where at a horse show I got very, very badly beaten up. And I recovered that. That was, that went and everything. But it was more the fact I felt, my friends didn't know how to cope with it. We were in our 20s. I talked to a therapist about it, and she said, did you report this? And I went, no, it's just something that happened. And this can happen to a lot of us. You saw a lot of this in the Me Too campaign for women. But I felt in that moment, I wanted my friends to stand up for me. Now, they tried, and they actually did in the actual moment of it happening. But the next day, it was like nothing had happened, and everybody was talking to him, and I felt at that moment really lost, that I was like, okay, have they now taken sides with him? And it wasn't about us and them or whatever. It's people's ability to cope with the situation, and it was a difficult situation. We were very, very young, but that then led me to more and more times when I would see somebody being badly treated, I would literally jump in the line of fire, and I would allow myself to get really badly hurt in a situation, because I felt I needed to stick up with them. And when I had this realization, I thought, okay, so how can I change this? How can I make it different? How do I stop? How can I stand up for somebody but not let myself get hurt? And I learned to do it through offering kindness. And it was one of my Aikido teachers, Alan Ruddock, rest his soul, used to always say to me, the more devilish they are, the more angelic you have to be. So when I saw somebody being nasty, if you actually give energy to them, you're actually fueling the negativity, even if you're standing in the line of fire. And going from another person who has inspired me, Mother Teresa, in that she never stood up for an anti-war campaign. She only ever, she led by example. So the way I now treat it is that when I see somebody is that I move the energy into a positive direction, and the person who is, shall we say, under attack or whatever, I support them with all my heart. And the funny thing is, that's exactly what I wanted when it happened. But the reaction that had built up inside of me was a reflection of the situation, not of what I really wanted from the situation. So now when I see somebody being treated badly, I absolutely pour so much love, so much support, back them up, check are they okay. And that's how I've learned to deal with that particular form of hurt. The other is when people we love may say things, is that I started to realise as well that if you're allowing people to hurt you, chances are it's coming from the inside. Chances are you are not valuing yourself, you're not loving yourself, you're beating yourself up on the inside. Those little voices in the head are going like bing, 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 oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, and constantly knocking you. And then you're actually, because law of attraction, you actually attract in people or situations that will actually manifest and do what it is you're chattering in your head. So just taking a moment there, does that resonate with you? Is it something maybe you feel too? If it is, pop a comment below. If anybody, if this resonates with people, I'd love to hear. Because you're not alone. You're never alone in these situations. But when you're hurt, you feel very, very alone. And the thing is, I actually have studied pain, because I had back pain all through my 20s, 30s, and I did a lot of research in pain, and I realised the emotional impact of it. So that also, I think, helped me understand how emotional pain allows us to hurt even more. So we have to heal the emotional pain. And how did I do this? The first tool I've got, and I've recommended this to so many people and they love it, is a simple elastic band. I have it on my wrist, but of course it's on the one holding the camera. But so I wear it like a bracelet. And every time I heard that negative thought, because this is all programming that we have absorbed all through our lives, through all sorts of different scenarios. And we don't have to step into every single one of them. It's good to step and see when I do an action I don't like, step into it and see, why am I reacting rather than responding? And but then when I would go into situations, and the funny thing was, everyone thought I was the most positive, bubbly person, probably looked no different to what you're seeing right now. But on the inside, I didn't. And because I didn't feel on the inside, I didn't start these videos a long, long time ago when I wished I would have liked to have done them. I didn't do things because the inside was not a reflection of the outside. And the elastic band, it's how we break that thought process that becomes our manifestation. And allow ourselves, because the thing is that the negative thought process is a habit. and we get into it very, very quickly. And I know there's a lot of therapies out there, CBT and NLP and all that, but I actually knew a lot of those, and it was still happening. I could tell it to other people, it was still happening to me. So the elastic band, and you don't have to learn anything to get it, you get the elastic band, and the minute you feel yourself starting to think negatively, talk negatively or whatever, you snap the elastic band, and it just breaks the process. And so that was the first thing. The second thing is a gratitude app. I think it's Gratefulness Me. I'll pop it into the description. For the last, I think it's coming up on 80 days. And this has been kind of the real transformation period in my life. Every single morning, every morning, I owe it to myself. I write a letter to me. And when I say it to people, they say, what do I say? And I said, well, you start the letter like, I say to my wonderful inner being, or to my inner child. There are 3 parts of our being. There is our inner being, our physical being, our outer being, and then of course the inner child. The inner child that has gathered the most amount of information and influences. And if we can connect back to our inner child, was before all that programming that we had got. Ooh, big heron, big birdie just flew by. And every morning I write to it, and just to start, it's like text, what do you say to your best friend when you text them? That's how you just start off. Hey, how's it going? What are you at? What are things like? The thing is just to start. Because once you start and allow yourself to do it regularly, you step out of what's known as the form and step into the formless, and you start to flow. And one of the main reasons people don't allow themselves to go into the flow is because they don't start. Because the start, when I look at the references to yin and yang, the start is yang, where it is actually quite rough. It's not a smooth sensation. You feel really, really uncomfortable with it. So it's like learning anything. It's like learning to drive a car, or learning to dance or whatever. When you start doing the steps in the beginning, they feel really, really awkward. But how do you learn to dance? You just keep practicing the steps over and over and over until the pattern, it becomes it comes from the physical into your inner being, and you actually start to know it and you can do it. So that's just 2 things: an elastic band, and write a letter to yourself every single morning. And just try it for the next month and see what happens. And pop back, even if it's in one of my other videos, and just say, let me know how you get on with it. Please subscribe to my channel, and of course hit the notifications button so you will get notified when I send out my videos. And in the description I've listed many ways we can connect. Hope you enjoy the video. If you do, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and talk to you soon in the next video. Bye bye.